Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Coffee Break. This is Dr. Michele. Happy Chinese New Year to our Chinese friends and to everybody who's spending the holidays at home with their loved ones. I hope that you can find time to just sit down, relax, and let's have coffee break. So I hope that you are well. I know that our lockdown restrictions for the month of February is really going down, and thank God it is. But I hope that we are still keeping ourselves well, safe, and healthy. So I think the discussion for this afternoon will be fitting for another month, another set of lockdown, another new set of challenges, another new set of events, circumstances that we need to confront. And we're going to talk about change, diba? I'm For those of you who are here already, you can share this live stream to family and friends. But I would like to start off our conversation by asking you, when you hear the word change, pag narinig niyo change, 'di ba? Change, pagbabago. Ano ang una niyong naiisip? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear change? Mahirap bang magbago? Yun yung gusto kong tanungin. Friends, for those of you who are watching already, mahirap bang magbago? Is it very hard to start change? Mahirap ba? Ano yung mga tingnan natin today? Ano yung mga challenges natin? Why is it so hard to change things? Why is it so difficult to pursue? Di ba? Minsan, meron tayong habit na bagong gagawin, pero in reality, in the long run, hindi natin masustain. Ayan, yung sustainability is in question. So, for those of you who are here, get your drink, get your coffee, or whatever it may be, or just sit down with me and let's just have some reflections regarding change. In this change of the lunar new year, the lunar year, yan, we are entering the year of the tiger. Diba? So, ang gusto kong tanungin, ano yung isang bagay na hirap tayong baguhin? Diba? Is it sleeping pattern? Is it cursing pattern? Is it our diet? Ano yung isang bagay sa buhay na parang, ay, ang hirap baguhin. So one thing is constant in life. No matter how difficult it may be to change something, one thing is constant in life, and that is change. Mahirap talaga magbago. But what is clear to us, kahit na hirap tayong magbago, one thing is very clear, life goes on. Even though that we're struggling in the middle of a change, the middle of life shifts, the middle of transition, kahit na ano pa yung pinagdadaanan natin, life goes on. 'Di ba? So what I would like to think about is that in the middle of all these things na kailangan nating ayusin, baguhin, i-rectify sa sarili natin, sa pamilya natin, sa habits natin, kumusta naman tayo? Anong nangyayari sa atin sa loob? So we are actually in constant motion, 'di ba? Every day, bagong happenings, bagong pangyayari. Even though that we still look like the same person, we are still different. I would really say that when we started entering this lockdown situation, we're almost 2 years already in the lockdown. Almost 2 years in the lockdown. I would say that we are a different person. Maraming nagbago sa atin. And many of us, when the lockdown started, we're resisting so much. We're resisting so much sa mga changes na nangyayari, mga setup sa bahay, ayan, dyan maraming naging confrontation. We reacted a lot to the situation in our government, in the in our community. We reacted to people, we reacted to the virus. There's so many reaction. But now, on its second year, parang phase 3 ng pandemya, how are we? Are we responding to the inside and outside? Are we responding or are we reacting? Magandang reflection yan. Sa bawat circumstances, sa bawat pagkakataon that life is giving us to be able to change, to able to correct something, to rectify, are we reacting or are we responding? And that is a very good reflection point. Does that make sense to you, friends? If you are here, ay hindi ko alam kung sino nandito, ay alam ko lang na meron ng mga nanonood sa atin. But please say hi. And if you have any questions regarding taking charge of change, bakit ko pinangalanan tong taking charge of change? Our natural tendencies as people, as individuals, as persons, ayaw natin magbago. Ayaw nating baguhin yung nakagawian na. Ayaw natin baguhin yung nakagawian na buhok. Ayaw natin baguhin yung nakagawiang diet. Yung mga nasanay na tayo, I don't know if you can relate with that, na kasanayan na yan eh, yung practices, yung patterns. Walang masama doon. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to change. But if there are already other things that are at risk, our health, our family relationship, and even our personal growth, hindi ba dapat i-revisit natin? So we need i-revisit natin and look na, oh, maybe we can do a little shift here, or maybe we can, tweak this a little so that we can start having change. So, kahit na ayaw natin, the many things that I've heard during the lockdown, hirap na hirap magbago yung mga tao. And what I always share here, friends, in Coffee Break is that what worked in the pre-pandemic may not exactly work now. 'Di ba? Yung mga patterns, mga ways natin during the pre-pandemic, posibleng ngayon hindi siya nakakatulong. But the more we resist what happened to us before, the more we resist all the changes that should happen, dapat mangyari, dapat kasi ganito. The more we resist shifting, pivoting, innovating from the pre-pandemic to the present, the more resistance we have, the more tiring it can be, and the more rigid we become. And that is why we need to look into bakit hirap na hirap tayo. Bakit hindi natin gusto yung pagbabago. Just before I go on, I would like to ask you, friends, for those of you who are here, what are the common things when you hear the word change? What comes to your mind? Natatandaan ko dun sa, nung when I was younger. Tapos pag pinapasulat ng friends ng slum book, I don't know if you know slum book, or autograph, yung nanay, lola at lola ng Facebook maybe. What there's a line that we say that parang don't change. Don't change. I hope you don't change. My love, pag may nanliligaw, my love for you will never change. Is that, is that true? Or is that a myth? Para sa akin, it's a myth. Because we are actually constantly changing. So our natural human tendency is that even though that, yes, we just are fixated with the concept of not changing, but in reality, we are evolving. We are persons struggling to become. Tama, di ba, Jing? The only thing that constant is change. I agree with that. Super agree. Thank you for sharing that. What is it that you have in your head? Ako, yun yung narinig, yung when I heard that, parang, yes, the only thing constant is change. Pero sinasabi na don't change. My love for you would never change. But for me, it's not applicable because it actually evolves. Even for couples, hindi naman, yes, may forever, pero hindi pwede na kung paano ka magmahal dati, ganun pa rin. Kasi it has to evolve, it has to change. So, why is it that we don't like to change? Let me share with you some insights. Bakit ayaw ba natin magbago? Una, we don't want to be inconvenient. Ayaw natin maging inconvenient. Ayaw natin to give up something that we love. We don't want to give up something that we like. We don't want to be hassled. We don't want to be uneasy in a certain situation. So we don't want to be inconvenient. We don't want to wake up na ay ayoko mag-exercise kasi pag nag-exercise ako, sasakit yung katawan ko. Ay, ayoko simulan yan kasi pag sinimulan ko yan, mahihirapan ako. So we all have these reasons. And then, isn't it that if we start something, there's really a learning curve. There's really difficulties. There's a lot of unease happening. And I think one of the growth points, that's why we need to change, is that that uneasy, that discomfort is actually that point when parang bibigay ka na pero nahihirapan but you stayed on. You just breathe in, parang sa yoga class yan, or parang sa exercise. Yung nahihirapan ka but you stayed on in the process, that is actually the one giving us, helping us to change. And looking at it, we don't want to be inconvenient. That's a natural human tendency. The next one is that we want to be steady. Diba? I don't know, for those of you who are in my generation or the generation older than me, mga tita ko parang ang tanong 'pag mag-boyfriend, steady na ba sila? Ibig sabihin na kayo na talaga. Kumbaga, you are a couple already. You've heard that. Sino dito yung mga ganyan, yung may mag-on na or steady? But I think that we want to be calm and we want to be steady. We don't want to rock the boat. In many family issues, ganyan. Hindi na, hindi na, hindi na healthy yung nangyayari sa bahay, pero baka magalit, baka i-reject ako, baka hindi kami magkaintindihan. So, ang nangyayari is that we don't want to rock the boat. We want things to be calm. We just want things to be steady. And we don't want to harm anyone. But kailangan na magbago. We don't like rocking the boat. So, yun yung mga family patterns na, tas parang, di ba Norie, na pag tayo yung may sinabing mali, feeling nila, inaaway natin silang lahat. Yung buong sistema gusto natin galawin. But in reality, some people are just very much fixated that they want to keep calm. They want to keep the family peace at all costs to the point of dysfunction. Maraming ganyan. Ayaw nung natin pag-usapan yan kasi magagalit lang. Magkakaroon lang ng away. Yes, magkakaroon ng away. Yes, magkakaroon ng confrontation, magkakaroon ng misunderstanding, magkakaroon ng hindi magandang pag-uusap. But that can be a growth point for everybody to learn, everybody to be open, and the relationship to be stronger. So it's like that feeling you want to be steady. That is actually the one that is hindering people to change. So the first one, we don't want inconveniences. The second, we just want to be steady and goody goody. And then the third, we don't want to make a fool of ourselves. We don't want to show, the third, we don't want to share. We don't want to share and show our limitation insecurities. Does that make sense? Maraming ayaw magbago kasi ayaw nila ipakita yung kanilang insecurity. Ayaw nilang makita ng iba na parang they're weak, that you're just projecting your issues towards me. Many people don't want to start any changes, don't want to really get out of their comfort zones because there's a lot they're hiding behind their insecurities. There's a lot. They're too comfortable already to the point that um, they don't want to grow. They don't want to grow. They don't want people seeing their insecurities, don't want people seeing discomforts, they don't want seeing people succeeding, 'di ba? So, yung iba nagtatago sa insecurity kaya ayaw nila na pag may naiba sa sitwasyon sa pamilya, parang, ay outlier ka, you're different, you're not cut like us. So, they don't want to change, even though that they are the ones who may not have the healthier patterns, right? So, I know that you can relate with what I'm saying. So, is there anything else you think that could be the reasons why people are resistant to change? Yung iba parang ito just they don't want to show their insecurity. They have fixated themselves to their ideologies. Halimbawa, meron na silang in-embrace na isang idol. May paninindigan na sila. Ayaw nilang aminin na baluktot. Ayaw nilang aminin na yung totoong issue, totoong quote unquote baho or totoong di magandang side nung kanilang iniidolo. So, or kanilang ideology, while this ideology is okay at a certain level, but ideology, either persons, lalo na ngayon, election, but you have to realize that if they get so fixated with that, they don't want to see that I am weak. They don't want to admit their weaker side. Kaya, wag na lang magbago. Ito na lang, papanindigan na lang nila yung pagiging mali. May kilala ba kayong ganito? Pinanindigan nila yung pagiging mali. Uh, so if we have looked into the bigger reasons why the human tendency is we don't like change, including matanda na sila, yes, yung iba ganyan naman yung reasons. Kasi pag matanda na sila, ayaw na nilang bungkalin yung issues at insecurity nila. Pero in reality, yung iba, ayaw lang nila maging inconvenient talaga. So the next one is that the bigger reason why change is hard. Bakit nga ba ito mahirap? It's because many of us are actually trapped already. What do I mean by that? Many of us are trapped. So, many of us are trapped in that thinking that this is the best way. Growing up, if you look at your family pattern, if you look at the society pattern, meron tayong mga conditioning. Ito yung standard ng perfect student. Ito yung standard ng perfect mother. Ito yung standard ng mabuting asawa. Well, walang masama, but we have to gauge, is this still helpful for us? So growing up unconditionally, unconsciously, we grow up with certain shoulds. Dapat. That in the process, we find it hard to be more flexible. The suggestions, social media, even this one, have been reading us too much to the point that they know our shopping tendencies, they know our interests, so nahihit tayo ng ads. And this just shows that if we do not have that inner wisdom or that ability to discern which is right for us, we will just be we will just be forever what I call the band, we will just be forever joining the bandwagon mentality. Yung lagi na lang tayong sumasama kung ano yung uso. You know what I mean? Yung parang, ay maganda yan. Ay sige, gusto ko rin yan. So, yun lang. Tayo yung special, particular target ng marketing. So, we would like to really explore. Gusto ko sinabi mo, Letty, ang ayaw ng pagbabago ay makasarili. Totoo. Kasi ayaw nilang they don't want to go out of themselves. They don't want to to have that sacrifice na maging inconvenient. And looking at this, that conflicts, we surround ourselves with so many shoulds. Growing up, ang daming shoulds, blah, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meron standards na 1 to 20. If in our adult life, if these are all still our rules and we have not found our own rules, ang hirap magbago. Ang hirap magbago. And it also conflict with who we really are. Kaya sa atin, maraming nahihirapan. Di ba, parang we surround ourselves with so many shoulds. This is how we should eat. This is what should we eat. So, maraming ideal. Pero sa dami nito, alam dyan yung yayakapin natin. So, you have to look at that. The reason why it's harder to change because it's hard, and then we are trapped already that what we have, that what we've been experiencing, it's the best route or the more comfortable route. Am I making sense? Am I making sense, friends? If you can relate with what I'm saying, di ba? Ano yung hirap na hirap tayong baguhin? And we fail to get out of the box because of that conditioning that we had. We fail to get out of the box. Kaya, di ba, we've heard that line, let's think out of the box, because society, our families, our upbringing has actually programmed us. And when they have programmed us, we have been conditioned and boxed. But the thing is, it's really hard to get out of our internal box. Kaya tayo hirap na magbago or may bagong gawin because we are exploring the unknown. Hindi natin alam. We don't want to take risk. Naipit na tayo ng sobrang daming shoulds, must, and standards. Gusto natin, sigurado tayo lagi, di ba? Meron pa tayong mga sigurista. And really, we cannot pursue lifelong change because, of course, there's this sense of discomfort. There's also that sense of self-preservation. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want for other people to see my insecurity. So, in yung mga tendency natin, di ba? We don't want to be inconvenient. We don't want to, we just want to be calm and steady, and we don't want to make a fool of ourselves, or we don't, that's self-preservation. But in reality, because of all this, we're too comfortable. We cannot get out of our box. And we cannot test out new possibilities in life. Diba? Kaya ang hirap. Bakit ayaw mong tingnan kung you will thrive here? Why don't you try that new haircut? Why don't you try that new lip color? Why don't you try something else? If you have said na lahat na sinubukan ko pero hindi talaga, and then that's okay. But even in life, that's why it's hard for us to make some decisions. It's because we want to be sure. it's hard for us to make the necessary changes sa bahay because we just want things that in perfect conditions. But that's not how life is. Life will never have the perfect conditions. Life will never have the perfect the perfect situation. I want to share with you one thing. When before year, I think mga 2018, when 2019, when 2018, 2019, nagsisimula na ang mga videos. Yeah, nagsimula na ang video. Meron ng Facebook Live, but I've never done Facebook Live. I think the only time I did Facebook Live is when I launched my book, The Beauty of 40, way back in 2019. Yun lang yung time na I have to use that Facebook Live feature of this Facebook page. And then, because before, ang daming shoulds, di ba? Ang daming standards ng videos na dapat ito yung lighting, dapat ito yung mic, dapat ito yung pagkakagawa, which are all good. But in reality, it limits us. It limits us. It limits us with so many things. But then, but then came the pandemic. Came the pandemic. I know, buddy, you can relate with them saying that, diba? Came the pandemic that we need to shift. And I was really encouraged by a friend to do their Facebook Live for their company. I think twice a week during the lockdown because of the families and their seafarers are heavily affected. And then I thought to myself that, wait, I can do this. I can do this even without the perfect conditions. All I need right now is maybe my laptop or my iPad and then my earphones. So kung babalikan niyo yung first episode ko way back March 2020, it's really not this quality. But then the mission is there, but the platform may be different. So I sabi ko, okay, let's do it. I will do it. Kahit na ang daming shoulds, parang ang pangit, parang hindi pleasing sa mata. But I think the value there is that the value that I'm going to speak about, the information that I will share, the insights that I will put out there. And then I said to myself that parang, hey, that's how it is. That is actually changing. That's actually evolving. That's why kaya kaya parang if we will not look at what opportunity has in the process, and then it's going to be so hard. Alex is saying, takot kasi tayo sa rejection, kaya ayaw natin ng changes. Yes, that Facebook Live thing, it's so hard for me to baka sabi ko, baka walang manood, baka ma-reject. But in reality, sabi ko, let me just put it out there. And then let's see. And now, thank God, I'm almost 2 years. And then there's Coffee Break in Facebook, in Spotify, and in YouTube. So, Ian is saying this is quite a long while for me. I know that change is inevitable, but medyo mahirap. Yes, it's really hard. Need ko lang time and understanding ng value change for me and for others. Yes, kaya ibang effort pag may change. Totoo. Iba ang effort pag may changes. But there are times that it is very needed. It's very needed. And you know, and then one thing that I said, kung hindi natin, if it will not work, at least we've tried. 'Di ba? If that pattern won't work, at least we're doing something about it. We cannot just say na sinubukan mo ba? Hindi, natatakot ako, ayoko. So inconvenient. So there you go. I think that taking charge of change, that's why I entitled this Taking Charge of Change. We have to realize that we are actually in charge. Hindi ihahain sa atin na parang 10-course meals, isang, you know, those traditional Chinese restaurant that the meals are, you know, laureate and all. Hindi ihahain lahat at pipiliin na lang natin, ay, ito yung gusto kong ulam, ito yung gusto. No. We have to really do something. We have to take charge of ourselves. We just cannot expect people to change. We cannot just expect, for moms like me, the household to just calm simply because ayaw natin, simply because it's inconvenient. So friends, really, one thing that I would like to leave with you, somebody's saying here, yes, buddy, you're part of Team Replay. Thank you for always supporting. Alex also, mas okay yung ma-reject kasi magsisisi ka sa bag. Yes, kahit sa pag-ibig, di ba? Risk naman lahat. Eden, It's my motto po, whatever the result, I will be satisfied that I have tried. I don't like to have regrets. Totoo yan. So, di ba, yung iba ay risk takers and the others are what we call risk averse. Diana, sometimes intention contributes to willingness and open to change. Also requires consistency. But what I would like you to realize that you have to check inside. Change will only happen if you are checking the internal condition. Saan galing yung hugot, bakit ayoko? Saan galing yung mindset, bakit hirap na hirap ako dito? Bakit hindi ko masustain? Bakit there's no consistency? For me, for something to bear fruit, aside from consistency, it has to be that inner awareness. We have that inner awareness na parang, wait, ito pala yung pattern ko sa pamilya, ito pala yung kinalakihan ko, kaya pala ko hirap na hirap gawin to. Kaya pala ito yung ano ko, parang may resistance ako when it comes to something. Kaya pala kahit anong pilit ko, hindi ko mabago kasi meron blocks, may roadblocks, may trap, may thought traps. Sorry, I have to use that word, thought traps, thinking traps, or maybe mindset or perception traps. Those patterns unconsciously ingrained in our system, resulting from growing up years. So it might be, if that's my invitation for this, why is it that we need to take charge of our change? Because there might be those inner patterns, kaya tayo nahihirapan is that nakapasok sa sistema natin, in our unconscious, in our psyche, that it's so hard for us to actually transpose it to what will be lifelong change or long-term change, kaya hindi natin masustain. Am I making sense? Kaya always check, saan galing to? Di ba yung sabi nila, yung hugot? Saan galing to? Bakit ako hirap? Saan galing to? Bakit hindi ko pa makita yung karugtong? Saan galing to? Bakit ako nag-struggle? Saan galing to? Bakit ako nahihirapan? Saan galing to? Bakit lagi na lang humingas ko gon? Or what, bakit, ano lang ako, intro voice lang ako, or self-starter, but I'm not really sustaining it. The thought is that there must be something more, and I would like to take a step. Taking charge is actually taking risk. Taking charge is actually learning new possibilities. Friends, alam nyo ang buhay, ang daming packaging ng growth, ang daming packaging lagi ng ways and means. So let's always offer that there must be something there more, and I will take the first step to do it. There must be something more. Why is it that we would like to resist change? Hindi naman tayo pinapahirapan pag may kailangan baguhin eh. I believe that one of the best mindset is that life is full of risk, yes. Change needs risk, and change needs us to take charge. If we are taking charge, we can tell ourselves that this, I may fail, I may not fail. I may fail, I may succeed, but I know whatever the results may be, this will be a learning experience. This will be a new possibility. This will be a growth point. Hindi ba ang ganda? Kaya when we take charge of change, I believe that more than the result is actually, it's the process of change. Good question. What is the first thing to do for accepting the change? Simple, acceptance. No more comparing. I believe that's why it's hard for us to accept. It's actually because we keep comparing the then and the now, this and that, this blah blah and blah blah. What is the first thing to do to accept the change? For me, personally, I believe the first thing to do to accept change is to look into ourselves and ask, what is this change asking me to do? It might be asking you to look for new possibilities. It might asking you to grow. It might asking you to confront an issue within yourself and maybe an issue within other people. It might be asking you to just stay in the present moment, not to compare, not to resist, but simply accept. Because the first thing to do to accept change is actually to fully embrace it. No ifs, no buts. I hope that that makes sense. I may be saying things na parang bakit si Doc Michelle hindi siya 1 2 3 4 step 1 2. I'm not like that because I know that we all have that inner wisdom. I provide maybe insights, but the solution will be yours because we have different solutions in what how we do things, 'di ba? So I hope that that helps. And I would like you, ang gusto kong iwanan sa atin ay itong, Alex, thank you for that. What is the first thing to do when accepting change? For me, the best thing that we can do to be able to look into change is that ask ourselves this question. What is this change teaching me? What is this change showing me about myself? Yan. What does the Lord have to do with this change? Lord, hindi ko kaya lahat, pero sa iyo yung iba. Diba? What is this change teaching me? So the three things that we can ask, can you all say it with me? What is this change teaching me? That's the first question. What is this change showing me about myself? That's the second question. And the third, what is the Lord wanting me to do with this change? Iiwanan ko sa inyo yan. Yan ang gusto kong pagnilayan natin, di ba? Because my resolution, hopefully that I can really shift to that, is always leave questions for you to think about, for you to carry you through here in Coffee Break. So I'm not just going to leave you with tips. I'm going to leave you with questions for you to reflect about. So about change, what is this change teaching me? What is this change showing me about myself? Thank you, buddy. And the third, what is the Lord wanting me to do with this change? Tanungin natin si Lord, Lord, anong gusto mo para sa atin? Para sa trabaho mo? I-connecta mo yung purpose ko sa buhay with what you want for me. And I believe that if the Lord bless that, if we have discovered ourselves and our relationship with the Lord and the relationship with other people about that change, I believe that is what we call radical surrender. Tama, Bell. In my book, there is such a chapter called Radical Surrender. And I hope this coffee break session has helped you enjoy your holiday. Please continue watching Coffee Break, sharing this to family and friends. And if you have questions that you would like me to answer on Thursday, please leave it here in the comment section. And I just would like to share with you, friends, please support Coffee Break. Support me in this mission in sharing all this information about family life, relationships, well-being, and faith. I do this coffee break every Tuesday and Thursday here in Facebook Live and also in YouTube. You can also catch this as your playlist in Spotify. So you can also support Coffee Break via Gcash. Just send us a message to ask for the details, and you can also send your Facebook stars that will be more than willing to bless other people with the blessing that you send. So I hope that this has helped you. Please send us your comments and your insights here in Coffee Break. I hope to see you on Thursday as we continue about taking risk of, ano nga ba title natin? Taking charge of change. So on Thursday, we'll continue discussing more of this, more on how do we start change. Yan ang pag-uusapan natin sa Webes. This is Dr. Michele for Coffee Break.